Hey there, Bubby. Welcome to Shanghala. My name is Duke. This is more Drew, and this is a full list episode. See, I've just put in my February comic book order at my local shop. I've let them know what books I am committed to buying 2 months from now, and I figure it's a chance to share that with you, my fellow comic book fans. Maybe there's a book I'm getting that you haven't thought of, and if I do a good job selling you on it, maybe you'll add it to your list if you still have time at your shop, or at the very least, maybe you'll be on the lookout for it when it comes out a couple of months from now. Certainly, it's in my interest to make sure that my favorite books, lots of people are buying them so that they will continue to be my favorite books. And conversely, the same thing. If you've got a book that you love that you don't see here on my list, by all means, sound off in the comments below. Let me know why you love that book, why I should add it to my list. Again, even if I don't have time to add it to my pull list, I may be able to be on the lookout for it a couple of months from now. And then the other thing, of course, about a pull list is the subtext. Not so much what's on the list, but what's not, right? Because there's so much product out there, you can't buy everything. So why does some stuff rise to the top, other things not so much? That's what we're going to talk about this episode. So if you like comic books, stick around. We're going to have some fun. Here we go. This is my pull list for February. You can see I just do a little spreadsheet here that I send to my retailer, and I am committed to buying 32 books in February. So, before we get started, before I go over, book by book what I will be buying, I'm curious to know a couple of bits of information from you. I hope you'll be willing to share in the comments below. One, how many books do you typically buy in a month? I'm curious to know. For me, it's usually around 30 to 35. And the reason I wonder that is because I have argued for years that the industry is too big. Well, it's not too big, but it just puts out too many books. I mean, Marvel, DC, they put out 80, 90 books a month before COVID, but even now it's still really too high now that they've cut back. I would argue that Marvel and DC should be putting out no more than 40 books a month, 10 a week at the absolute maximum. Because you can't buy everything, and it's not like the market is diverse, like there's something for everybody. The market these days puts out a lot of the same stuff, so it's selling the same stuff to the same people, and those people can only buy just so much. You can't afford everything, especially when comic books are $3 and now upwards of $5 a pop. So I'm curious, how many books do you buy a month? I'd like to know. Because I wonder, if the industry were to right size, what would be appropriate? How many books would it be publishing if it was actually publishing to the amount of books that people will actually buy? Of course, the other thing I should mention here is this number here. This is the full retail value, $152.68 of the 32 books I'm getting. I do get an employee discount. I don't work for the store where I get my books, which for the record is .com Comics in Freeport, Maine. But I work for the company that owns that store, and so I do get an employee discount. But most people, most fans, unless they're just like, a casual normie, wandering into a store and getting a book every now and again, most fans who have a pull list get some kind of a discount. 15, 20% maybe. If you order online, you might get even more, 35, 40, upwards of 50% off of each book. Although with an online retailer, you typically have to pay postage, and that brings it back down. So most fans aren't paying the full retail price. So I'm curious, you don't have to tell me what the discount is, but I'm curious to know if you have a pull list at your local store, do you get a discount? And if you're a retailer, I wonder, do you give discounts? And again, how many books do you buy a month? If you're a retailer, your typical customer, how many books does your average customer buy per month? And I know that there are 4 or 5 people subscribed to this channel who either now or formerly own or manage comic book stores. So yeah, I'm curious to get that from both perspectives. And the other thing that I wonder is, how do you manage pull lists, right? If you're one of my fellow fans, how do you let your retailer know what you want to buy each month? If you are a retailer or own or manage a comic book store, how do you manage that on your end? All of your customers who do pull lists, assuming you do a pull list, how do you manage that on your end? My local store uses an app called League of Geeks, and I hate that. I refuse to use it. That's why I put in this spreadsheet each month, because I'm just that ornery and contrarian. So, but the reason I hate League of Geeks is because it operates on the basis of sale dates and not order dates. So, for example, I follow Daredevil, and I've ordered issue 27 this month. But let's say I didn't order it. Maybe, Chip Zdarsky, the writer, is off the book. He's why I'm buying it. I decide to drop the book from my pull list, so I don't get 27. Well, if I'm using League of Geeks, and I go in and check that book off of my subscription list when I see the solicitation and know there's going to be a change, League of Geeks makes that change immediately. So what happens is that the store ends up with, for 25 and 26 that haven't come out yet, the store has those books and now suddenly doesn't know where they go. And I may not end up with them in my pull list unless the retailer was able to remember and thinks to ask me, hey, didn't you used to get this book? Why are you not getting it anymore? They won't, otherwise they just end up with an extra book for the shelf. And yet I wanted those books. I wanted those ones that I've already pre-ordered. The only other alternative is to keep in my mind to remember once I've purchased 26 and I'm like, oh yeah, I saw a couple of months ago that this is Zdarsky's last issue. I need to go into League of Geeks and drop it now. Well, to me, that's too much work to expect of the fan, of the collector, of the customer, So it's too much for me anyway. So I put in the spreadsheet each month and I'm like, Dan, he's the guy who runs the store. There it is. You deal with it. That's what I want. That's what I expect to be fulfilled. And I'm not screwing around with this thing to remember 2 months from now to drop it. Or if I drop it now, I've got to remind you that there are still 2 books that I've already ordered that haven't come out yet. So again, I'm wondering, how do you put in your pull list? If you run or manage a store, how do you manage those pull lists? But here's what I do. I'm sorry, just making myself laugh because I'm suddenly thinking of the person who is watching this video and is checked out already. Because they're like, dude, you're rambling. And the worst part is this is like the 6th take. All right, let's get to the actual pull list. Let's do that, right? Let's give you what I promised. So DC Comics, I have got 6 books from DC Comics coming in February. For the most part, I skipped Future State. It just looked like a fill-in nothing burger. I didn't know many of the creatives, the writers, or the artists involved. I didn't really like the direction of a lot of the books, and it wasn't like the wokeness and the substituting different minorities and genders and whatever. It wasn't so much that. It was just such a sudden break line wide that, well, they say, a jumping on spot can be a jumping off spot as well. So there were only 3 books that the solicitations appealed to me enough that I'm like, fine, I'll get those. I'll see what they're about, even though I know that in a couple of months, we're going to be on to something else, and none of this is ever going to matter, and none of it's ever going to be referred to again. That's what it feels like anyway. This feels a lot like when DC moved out west, the Convergence books, right? None of that ever mattered, Not that I need stuff to, quote-unquote matter. All I need is a good story. That's what hooked me on comics when I was a 7-year-old kid. It's what still keeps me coming back. Good stories, good art, but I've just got no guarantee that that's what these Future State things were going to be. So these 3 books, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and Aquaman, I gave a try. Legion of Superheroes, I'm a big Legion fan. I've been buying the Legion regularly since 1976. I'm not going to stop now, even though Brian Michael Bendis' Legion sucks ass. I'm sorry. If you're a fan, I apologize to you. I hate it. I hate every single thing Bendis is doing with the Legion. I hate the changes he's making. I hate the way he's writing the stories, this decompressed, nothing happened, iceberg plotting bullshit. excuse my language. But it is Legion, so I have to buy it. Something else I felt I had to buy was this Generations Forged book, where they're throwing together different characters from different time frames. I probably would like it better if it was different characters from different Earths, if we still had the original DC multiverse, the pre-crisis multiverse. I would like that better. But I get annoyed with all of the timelines and all of the realities all merged into one supposedly coherent, but anything but coherent timeline on one Earth. And so I feel like in advance that this grouping of characters is just going to annoy the hell out of me. So we'll see what happens. But I got it, even though it's a $10 book. I got it just because I figured, so many people are going to be talking about this online. I want to be part of the conversation. Okay, fine. And frankly, $10 for 80 pages is a better deal than $4 for, well, these books will have about 20 pages of story, the $3.99 books. So on a per page basis, it is a better deal. The last DC book I got was this Superman House of L. Looks to be a one-shot by, what's his name, Robert Anthony Kennedy. So I got this for two reasons. One, because I've already seen the March solicitations, and I know that he's going to be the regular writer, at least for the short term, for the Superman books. So this is kind of a lead on. It's not something that's never going to matter. It is kind of a lead on to the new direction of these books. But more importantly, Wes from the Thinking Critical channel, he is very high on this writer. Apparently he's done a book called The Last God for DC that I'm not familiar with, I haven't seen. But Wes has really, really praised this guy's work. So I'm like, okay, I'll give it a try. Even though this one's $5.99 and I think it's a 40-page book, so it's probably going to be, maybe 28 pages of story. That's a little worse of a deal than the regular books. So, I don't know. Decided to give it a try. Moving to Marvel, I'll be getting 4 Marvel books in February. The regular buys, the only 2 books that I buy on a regular basis, the ongoing books from Marvel, are Daredevil, which we've already talked about. I get that largely because of Chip Zdarsky, and Strange Academy. That's a book I've been enjoying. The other 2 books that I am getting in February, I did sign up last month for this Iron Fist Heart of the Dragon limited series. And that's because the writer is Larry Hama. And Larry he's old school. I figure he can tell a comic book story. I'm a little nervous. Most, 12-issue maxi series these days have got about 4 issues of actual plot. It's going to be a lot of filler, but I feel a little more confident with Larry Hama that, I will get a full 12 issues worth of actual story. So I took a chance. And then this Black Knight #1 facsimile edition. This is a reprint of the Marvel Atlas book from the 50s, written by Stan Lee, art by Joe Manley. I've actually held that book a couple of times. If I haven't mentioned it already, what I do for the company that I work for is I grade the books that we sell online on eBay. So if you go to eBay, sellerName.com comics, any single issues, I'm the one who graded those books. And I've had a chance to hold this book a couple of times, but I could never afford it myself. And so I'm just kind of excited to get this facsimile edition, to be able to actually sit down, read it for myself, and enjoy that really cool Joe Manley artwork. Image Comics. So this is where I'm spending most of my money in February. I'm actually getting 7 Image Comics. The regular purchases are Stillwater by Chip Zdarsky and Firepower by Kirkman and Samney. And then Savage Dragon. Savage Dragon is a book that I buy really just to make a coworker happy. I've got a coworker who is the single biggest Savage Dragon fan of all time. So I've been buying this since about 243 or so. And if I'm being honest, they're sitting in a pile. I haven't even read them yet. So I guess I need to read them. But I buy it just to make Sean happy. And who knows? There's one other book here on the list that I'm buying to make somebody else happy. So, hey, I'm just a caring, compassionate person. Let me know. I snorted. Sorry. I cracked myself up. What was I even saying? I don't know. Trucking on. There were 4 books, 4 #1s from Image. And Image, man, Image just spurts out first issue after first issue after first issue. It's like 3 or 4 new series every month. And that's why I have predicted that Image is going to just explode over the next year as Marvel and DC and other companies kind of clamp down, put a little more control over their books. A lot of people are going to go to Image. I expect Image to maybe double in output over the next year. But then I'm also expecting a crash because most of these books aren't going to sell that well. If you've seen a recent Perch video, I think he has told you that Marvel or DC need to sell about 12,000 copies of an issue just to break even. And for an independent book, it's even higher than that. I would think it would be a little lower, but he says it's a little higher. But even if it is just still 12,000, most Image books aren't selling 12,000 copies a month. And I've heard tell that, after Image is paid its fee, after the printer is paid, the entire creative team can be left with as little as what amounts to $40 a page. It really isn't a living wage. So I expect Image is going to double in size over the next year and then crash right back down to maybe smaller than it is now. But anyway, while we're on the upsurge, there are 4 books that are coming out, 4 number ones in February: Deep Beyond, Radiant Black, Stray Dogs, and Two Moons. And I can't really tell you much about each of these books. The thing about Image is their solicitations sometimes only give the barest hint. Sometimes you don't even get any preview artwork to look at. It's really hard to judge. I think Image should do some imprints or branding or something to help folks get a little better idea of what a book is going to be about. So really, I just took a chance on all 4 of these just with the idea that even if I hate them, I can do a review for the channel here. So it wasn't completely wasted. Of course, by the time I get number 1, I will have already ordered number 3, so I'm kind of committed to 3 issues on all of these series, if I hate it enough to drop it as soon as I see the number 1. But those are the 4 issues that I have purchased. Let me know, did you get any of those books? Did you put them on your pull list? And if so, why? What prompted you to take a chance on any of these books? Like again, I'm doing it just for, effectively just because I had the room and the budget and just for shits and giggles. But, assuming you're on a tighter budget, or even if you're not, why did you pre-order these books? Assuming you did. And if not, why not? All right, moving on. Abstract Studios, Serial is the latest serialized book by Terry Moore. Big fan of Terry Moore. And I really like his videos on YouTube as well, by the way. If you haven't seen those, he does a lot of drawing tutorial videos. And so I'm, ever since Strangers in Paradise, way back in the Antarctic Press days, I've been a fan of Terry Moore. So, yeah, had to get that book. I mentioned books I'm buying to make other people happy. This is one, the Cimmerian, the Frost Giant's Daughter. That was recommended to me by a viewer of this channel. I tried number 1. I put it on my pull list just because he recommended it. Number 1, the artwork was good. The story was good. There just wasn't enough of it. The story itself, I read in literally about 6.5 minutes. Had that book not also included the original Robert E. Howard story, or at least the first part of that story, the first 4 pages that this book is based on, then this would have been a really, really hard sell to keep on keeping on with. But I've decided to just go ahead and stick with a whole miniseries. I think it's going to be 4 issues, and hopefully the other issues will be there'll be more bang for the buck. Again, it's not a bad series. I'm glad that this person recommended it to me. I'm glad I tried it. I'm certainly, aware now Ablaze Comics is on my radar where it wasn't at all before. But that first issue was like, that was kind of a tough sell, just again because it was so quick of a read. Aftershock Comics, again, kind of like the Image books, I just went ahead and tried a couple of first issues just because. Now, I'm a little concerned that these are $5, and the solicitation that I saw did not say how many pages it was. I'm hoping that they're a little larger than normal. I have seen that the March solicitations, these second issues, these both drop down to $3.99, so I'm hoping that these are maybe a little larger, that there'll be some value there. I'm hoping that's not $4.99 for just a regular 32-page book. But Shadow Doctor is that looked neat because it's a Chicago gangster story, but it is purportedly based on the real life experiences of the writer's grandfather. So I thought that would be cool. And the Nuclear Family is an alt history type of thing. You know, what if the bomb had actually dropped in the 1950s? But again, kind of like the Image books, I just took a chance. I had some room in my budget because I have been, the last couple of months, I've been so far under budget. I've only been buying about half of what I normally do, and I've been filling it out with diving into the dollar bins. But here in February, I decided to kind of beef things back up again, kind of push the bounds of that $25 to $30 a week on new books, not a mixture of new and old. And so we'll see. We'll see how these two books are. But I pretty much, I just went with them. And they look kind of interesting. I kind of enjoyed sort of Aftershock books before, but mostly just because they're number ones and I try them out. Ahoy Comics, that's a company I support largely because of Tom Peyer, who was a creator on the Legion of Superheroes back in what we call the reboot era back in the 90s. And so I support Ahoy. Largely, it's leftover goodwill from the Legion for Tom Peyer. So his Penultimate Man, it's been a good book. That's up to number 5. And this Wrong Earth Night and Day, number 2. Happy Hour is a different thing. That's by Peter Milligan. And that is, that's imagining that, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, if that was mandatory, you will be happy and the state will assure it. So we'll see. That could be a woke nightmare, but we'll see how it goes. I think I've got the first issue already, and it's in my read pile. I haven't got to it yet. Antarctic Press, 2 books getting there this month. Exciting Comics I've been off and on with. That is kind of it's almost like or at least the impression I get from it, it is a new talent showcase kind of thing. It's new and emerging writers and artists working on public domain characters. And I generally will throw it into my order when I see a solicitation and I have room. Planet Comics, it's on issue 3, but I swear to you, I have never seen the solicitations for 1 or 2, and I look at the previews catalog every single month. But, Antarctic Press, and there are a couple of companies like this, their solicitations in the previews catalog, I don't know who lays it out, but it makes my eyes bleed. It's really hard to read. And so maybe I skipped through it. I didn't notice it because of the layout. But again, I never saw solicitations for issues 1 or 2, or if I did, they didn't register. But I tried it this month just because I assume it's something similar to Exciting Comics, and I figure what the heck. Awa Studios, I tried this Erratic because it kind of reminded me of an early Spider-Man type of thing, and so I thought I'd give that a try. And then this month they've got a new number 1, Redemption. It looks like a kind of a cowboy thing, and I'm sure, why not? Always support different genres, Even though I grew up on superheroes, cut my teeth there, and back in the day, like I wouldn't even buy Sergeant Rock or Jonah Hex. I was all about the superheroes. But these days, the pendulum has swung, and I'm more into supporting different genres. So I figured I'd give that a try. Boom Studios. I haven't bought any Boom books in a long, long time. But I got Luna. That looks like some kind of hippie cult thing. But the artwork was really nice in the solicitation. So that's what prompted me on that. These other 2 books, again, they're $4.99, and that makes me a little nervous because the solicitation didn't make clear to me, how many pages these books are going to be. But the preview art, or at least the cover for Orcs, was just so charming. And this looks like a typical Quest thing. It's sort of imagine Stranger Things, except the kids are orcs. So it looked like fun. And then Spectre Inspectors, that's a great title. It really is. That's one of those head slapper, oh, why didn't I think of that kind of title? So Spectre Inspectors, frankly, I bought it just because of the title. Although it looks like fun. It looks like kind of a cross between Ghostbusters and Clue Club. And if you don't know who Clue Club is, then you are not Gen X. You are a millennial or younger, in which case, I hate you, I hope you die, and by the way, get off my lawn. But anyway, and then finally, this last book here, a bigger one, and it's rare for me to be able to add in a trade paperback or an original graphic novel, a $15 book. But I had some room in the budget this month. I decided I was going to spend the full budget on new books instead of, like I've been doing the last several months, spending about half of my weekly budget on dollar books. And this is Hamilton, America's Celebrated Founding Father. So it purports to be a nonfiction book, a biography of Alexander Hamilton. We will see if it is more true to life than the celebrated Broadway musical of the same name. There are Hamilton, by Lin-Manuel, no, not Manuel Noriega. The hell's his name? Lin something Manuel. It's not Noriega. Sorry, I forgot his name. Manuel Noriega is somebody else. Somebody else who just shows you how old I am. Okay. But the musical is great, no question about it, but it does take some liberties for the sake of telling the story. So I bought this for two reasons. One, to see how well they do with getting the facts right, but also just to see how they handle this. I have for years, maybe 20, 25 years or more, I have kind of toyed with the idea of doing my own comics, and I've always wanted to do kind of historical nonfiction books set in the colonial revolutionary era. And so this is exactly the kind of thing I've wanted to do myself, and I'm curious to see how they do it. So I might have sprung for this book even if I hadn't been able to fit it in the budget. So there you go. That is it. Those are the 32 books I will be getting in February. And again, let me know what you're buying, and let's hash it out. Let's set those comments down below. Let's set them afire with some crosstalk here. Let's argue. Let's chat about comic books because, hey, that's why we're here. Okay, so that's it. That is the video. Please do like, share, subscribe, do all the groovy things. Leave a comment. Until next time, goodbye, good luck, and please be good to each other.